Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by saying this. Innovation doesn't begin with technology, it begins with trust. The world we live in today is fast, paced, hyper, connected, and driven by change. Every day we wake up to something new, a breakthrough, a disruption, a shift in the way we see the world. And yet, despite all these innovations, the one thing that remains constant is our need for trust. Trust is the foundation upon which all great innovations are built. And that might sound counterintuitive, because when we think of innovation, we often think of genius minds, disruptive technologies, cutting-edge startups. We imagine someone in a garage or a lab creating the next big thing, but here's the truth. Those ideas would never reach the world without trust, without someone believing in them, without someone being willing to take a risk on something unproven. You see, trust is the soil, innovation is the seed, and leadership is the farmer. Now, let me explain. When you plant a seed, you don't demand fruit the next morning. You water it, you nurture it, you give it sunlight. You protect it, and most importantly, you believe in what you cannot yet see. That is exactly what trust does for innovation. It creates an environment where ideas can grow, where risk is tolerated, where failure is seen not as a dead end, but as a stepping stone. So many leaders today want innovation, but they forget to build trust. They demand creativity while fostering fear. They want change but punish mistakes. That's like planting seeds and stepping on them the next day. No matter how revolutionary your vision is, it will never grow in an environment that lacks trust. The best leaders understand this. They don't just demand innovation, they cultivate it. They build cultures where people feel safe. Safe to experiment, safe to speak up, safe to fail, because only in safety does the mind explore. Only in safety do people give their best ideas. Only in safety does innovation thrive. Take Apple, take Google. Take any truly innovative company, you'll find a culture of trust. And you'll find leaders who understand that people don't follow ideas. They follow belief, they follow purpose, they follow trust. Now let's talk about how we build trust. Trust is not a switch. It's not something you can demand. It is earned slowly, over time, through consistency, through empathy, through integrity. It begins with listening. It begins with showing up. It begins with putting people before results. We often think that trust comes from reliability. That's only part of it. Real trust comes when people believe you care about them, when they feel seen, when they feel heard, when they know you have their back even when things go wrong. And guess what happens when people trust you? They bring you their best, they stay late, they think deeper, they challenge assumptions, they create. They innovate. In a world obsessed with speed, trust takes time, but speed without trust is chaos. Trust creates alignment, it creates cohesion, it turns a group of people into a team, and a team into a movement. So if you want innovation, real, sustainable, world-changing innovation, don't start by hiring smarter people. Start by being a better leader. Start by asking yourself, do my people feel safe? Do they trust me? Do they trust each other? Because the real breakthrough doesn't come from code, or capital, or conferences. It comes from connection. People don't fear innovation. They fear the consequences of failure. Remove the fear, and you unleash the future. That's your job as a leader, not to be the smartest in the room, but to be the most trusted. So lead with empathy, lead with integrity, lead with purpose. Because when you lead with trust, innovation will follow. Always. If trust is the soil, and leadership the farmer, then culture is the climate. It influences everything. No matter how strong the seed or how skillful the farmer, a toxic climate will stunt the seed's growth. Culture is the invisible force that either drives or drags innovation. This is why leaders must be intentional in designing the culture they want to lead. Culture doesn't happen by accident, it happens by design or by default. The best leaders shape their cultures by the way they behave, not the policies they write. It's in the stories they tell, the behaviors they reward, the mistakes they tolerate, and the empathy they show. We talk about innovation as if it's a one-time event. It's not. It's a habit. It's a mindset. It's a way of thinking. And that mindset must be instilled every single day. If trust is fragile, then innovation is its expression. It's the voice that speaks when it knows it's safe. Let's imagine two companies. Company A has the smartest engineers, the latest tools, and a huge budget, but the environment is cutthroat. Mistakes are punished. Status matters more than substance. Fear is everywhere. Company B has average resources, but people are encouraged to ask questions. Leadership listens. Failure is debriefed, not shamed. Collaboration is valued more than ego. Now ask yourself which one will truly innovate, not the one with the better tools, the one with the better trust. Trust, when embedded in culture, leads to something else, resilience. Because innovation isn't just about coming up with new ideas, it's about sticking with them when they're hard. When the prototype fails, when the first version flops, when people laugh or criticize, that's when most ideas die. Not because they weren't good, but because the people carrying them didn't feel supported. Resilience is born out of trust. Trust that someone will still believe in you when things go wrong. Trust that you'll be given another shot. Trust that your effort matters, even when the results aren't there yet. And that trust must be mutual, not just top-down, but peer-to-peer. Do your teammates trust each other? Do they cheer for each other's wins and lift each other after losses? In great organizations, innovation is never the job of one person. It's the collective bravery of many. We must build what I call circles of safety, teams where no one fears humiliation, where status games are left outside, where people take risks because they know they won't be punished. Inside those circles, creativity flows. Energy builds, trust spreads, and when innovation happens in a trusted circle, it accelerates. Why? Because trust cuts friction. It shortens feedback loops. It replaces politics with purpose. People talk less about problems and more about possibilities. So how do we scale trust across an entire organization? By modeling it every day, especially in the hard moments. When a mistake happens, do you look for someone to blame? Or do you ask, what can we learn from this? When someone speaks up with a new idea, do you roll your eyes? Or do you lean in and ask questions? When someone challenges your decision, do you shut them down? Or thank them for caring enough to speak? The answers to these questions define your culture, and your culture defines your innovation. I'll say it again. People don't fear innovation. They fear punishment. Remove the punishment, and you remove the fear. You create a space where courage shows up, and where courage leads, innovation follows.